action coming up tomorrow when they travel to Arkansas for Tennessee. They go into the game with a couple reigning players of the week. Jamie Nard, the SEC Player of the Week, and Anastasia Hayes, the SEC Freshman of the Week. With a sports flash on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities, I'm Matt Pauley.
Hey, it's Marky Billson, Tri-City Sports Now. And here's the, what do they say about basketball? You watch for the last 2 minutes, that sort of thing. Okay, let's take you back to the last 2 minutes of last night's exciting Tennessee victory against the Kentucky Wildcats. Hey, the Wildcats were up 58-56 in the closing seconds when this occurred.
35 seconds to go. Kentucky by 2. Lamonte Turner. Top of the key, gives to Alexander, gives back to Turner, 10 seconds to go, launches a long three, Turner hits it, Lamonte Turner with the three to give Tennessee the lead.
And if that wasn't enough...
Looks, fires the ball, stolen by Bowden with 7 seconds to go, outlet Schofield, slams at the other end with 4 seconds. Tennessee leads it, 61-58, and now Calipari calls timeout.
And then Rick Barnes did that thing you do where you foul the player, so he goes to the free throw line and he makes one, tries to miss the second shot so he can get the rebound and put it in off the glass, that sort of thing, you know. But that they got the first shot, they didn't get the rebound in Kentucky. So Tennessee sweeps Kentucky, first time in 19 years. Big, and really, something's all screwed up here now. Kentucky beats Tennessee in football, and Tennessee sweeps Kentucky in basketball. What is going on? Are we living in the bizarro world? Tri-City Sports Now. But to me, you know, it was a statement victory, certainly for the Vols. Now, you can legitimately think, I do think the people that are saying, oh, number 1 seed, they're getting ahead of themselves. I do think that having a number 3 seed is now a viable option. Of course, you got to remember this too. Tennessee was ranked ahead of Kentucky, even if they were dogs by a couple of points. You got to look at the fact that, yeah, I mean, they defeated a top 25 team, but not a team that was ranked in the top 20 in Kentucky. And I really would, like I said, I'd love to see this Tennessee ETSU team that's now clicking on all cylinders play Kentucky again. Remember what I said at the start of the show. There was a time early on in that game where Tennessee, or I should say ETSU, had a 10-point lead against the Wildcats. Couldn't hold it. Didn't hold the lead against Xavier either. But they have won now 15 in a row, have the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. There have been many signings coming out here in college football. And let's try to get to some of them here. By the way, I should point this out. Tennessee has announced the date of their spring game, the orange-white game. It is April 21st. So, really excited about spring football, are you? I mean, I never know what you can really take from these things. I mean, certainly after last year's spring game, what did we come away with? Oh, boy, it's Quentin Dormandy who should be the quarterback of the Vols. And yet, I mean, if you look at it in hindsight, yeah, at that point, probably Dormandy should have been named the starter. And I can understand, you know, it definitely should not have been held until the opening kickoff of the Georgia Tech game. Well, I don't have to tell you. Actually, you do. As common courtesy, if you want to instill your brand, if you want to put out a message that your players are individuals and not part of a herd, then you do name a starting quarterback early on. You make it official. You recognize the leader. You don't do that, then you have reports of like what happened with Juan Jennings, where supposedly he would not practice at 100% when Jared Guarantano was out on the field. Selfish move by Jennings, yes, but it could have been prevented if a starting quarterback had been named at the start of August based on the spring game, rather than, no, I don't have to tell you. Let's keep everyone guessing. Folks, if you got to worry about deceiving Georgia Tech, you got a lot to worry about. You got a lot more to worry about than deceiving Georgia Tech. Anyway, National Signing Day, and here are some of the players that have been announced for Tennessee so far. Trevon Flowers, a 3-star defensive back out of Tucker, Georgia. John Mincy out of Homerville, Georgia. He's a defensive lineman, 6'4", 255. And a wide receiver, tall guy, out of Bishop Gorman High School, which I believe is the high school that UNLV's coach went to directly from out there in Las Vegas. Cedric Tillman is the player. Now, I guess here's the problem with that. Nevada still isn't all that big of a place. Okay, Tennessee, they get a receiver out of a good high school in Las Vegas. Good. It's the 10th best player in Nevada that they're getting. Well, I guess that's better than getting the 11th. What does it all mean, though? Trying to recruit these people. Trevon Flowers, the 100th best player in Georgia. That's the defensive back they get. I don't know. The Vols did get 14 early signing players. I guess that the most impressive one, JT Shrout, some people are thinking that he'll actually start. The Californian from William Hart Senior High. But I think what you look for in a circumstance like this is, again, where do they go to school? Do I recognize the high school? Okay, let me just give you this for Tennessee's class, their early signings. Paxton Brooks, punter out of Airport High School. That's actually a pretty well-known, it's in Casey, South Carolina. It's right by the airport of Columbia, South Carolina. It's actually a pretty well-known football school for that part of the country. Kingston Harris, defensive lineman, IMG Academy. Well, that means that he's been basically prepped to be a college football player. It's a nice pickup, right? One would think, but it's all a reasonable guess. You don't know. And by the way, Harris, explain this to me. He's a defensive lineman at IMG with 3 stars. Greg Emerson, I know he weighs about 8 more pounds, but he isn't any shorter according to this. He's coming out of Jackson, Tennessee. He's not the biggest guy in the world, and he's 4 stars. What does it all mean? It doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot, really. I am intrigued by, I've told people this, Jameer Johnson, the offensive lineman, and Dominic Wood Anderson, the tight end in the early signing period, coming out of Arizona Western College. I do know that it's a very good junior college. And, usually you think of junior colleges, you think of teams without followings. The Matadors of Arizona Western are in no way, shape, or form as popular as, say, Tennessee, or for that matter, Arizona State or Arizona. But they're the only game in town in Yuma. Yuma doesn't even have any minor pro sports. They don't have even a D2 college, and this is a town just shy of 100,000 people. You've heard of Yuma. So when they want big-time sports, used to be that the Padres trained there for spring training. They don't anymore. But when you want big-time sports in Yuma, and you don't want to have to get in the car and drive 2 hours to Phoenix, then yeah, Arizona Western is it. That's the home team. That's as big as it gets in not a bad-sized town, Yuma. The fun thing about Yuma sports, I can't believe we're talking about, but it's worthwhile of saying, do you know what the nickname of Yuma High School is? The Criminals. Yes, you heard that right, the Criminals. Evidently, the school used to be a prison. I'm not making that up here, and all that. But anyway, Vols, they do sign 3. Not really anybody who's really that impressive. The recruiting ranking of Tennessee is going down at the to 24th. They were up to 15 at one point. But again, what does that mean? Heck, in 4 years, they might be the national champions for all we know. Or they might be 0-12. Like I said, it's kind of fun to look at the resumes. It's kind of fun to say, I know Arizona Western, but really don't take it for any more than that. And you can take whatever optimism or pessimism you want from that. I'll talk about this with Caleb Calhoun, all for Tennessee, when we come back.
Backwoods to the city.